Here's Rudy Giuliani. We got a clip of Rudy Giuliani talking apparently about his treatment. Here it is.
The most important question of all, Rudy Giuliani. How do you feel, buddy?
I feel
pause
about 100%
it for 1
right
second.
now.
We should say this is on the former Imus show. What do they call it now? The Bernard McGurk show or something?
Bernie and Sid in the morning.
Bernie and Sid on WABC. Yeah, here we go.
The most important question of all, Rudy Giuliani. How do you feel, buddy?
I feel just about 100% right now. I'm gonna be discharged this afternoon. I'm pretty much 100%. I've got to quarantine for a few more days because the way they calculate it, I probably got it about 7-8 days ago. So I got about 3 or 4 more days to make sure it's out of my system. But right now, I'm functionally fine. I have no pains, no fever. I walk around fine. My breath is good. I have a teeny cough that's going away. I feel better than when I came in, actually.
Wow.
Damn it.
That's what President Trump was saying. You feel like he said he felt like Superman.
I took some of the same medicines, and I have to say they are miracles. I mean, there's one that I took. By the next morning, I felt like I was 10 years younger.
Wow. I mean, it's almost like they contain steroids and make you feel entirely powerful and strong, and no one else has access to it because you are president adjacent and you are a horrific human being who blows holes in the idea of meritocracy because you now have access. Rudy Giuliani. Then, by the way, they used like the most flattering picture they could find of him from like 20 years ago. Rudy Giuliani has the best access to healthcare in this country. And that goes to show that the good people don't always get rewarded. I'm glad he's okay, despite what Jenna Ellis said about my remarks on the situation. I am glad he's okay. But like the idea that they are talking about how good they feel, it's quite dangerous because they know that most people aren't able to get these experimental treatments that they inject into him. He's aware of that, but it doesn't matter. It's all about upholding the myth that makes Trump look better, that makes the virus go away, that makes the economy ostensibly get back to normal. It's grotesque.
Do you think he realizes that?
I was just saying, just from a public health standpoint, one of these guys getting it and getting it bad would be a useful message to people, actually, because Trump getting it and coming back and saying I'm better than ever, I think is partially responsible for the massive influx we have now.
No, but that's never going to happen because they're rich and they can, like Jamie said, they can get access to all of these experimental treatments, and so it creates this false perception that getting COVID is not that big of a deal.
I mean, Donald Trump, he went out onto the White House lawn and said, I'm going to get this for everybody. Everybody's going to get this treatment. We now have nearly 3,000 people a day dying from this. And so I wouldn't waste the energy on hoping that Rudy Giuliani passes away from COVID. But I think as a technical matter, it is absolutely undeniable that his death would probably save lives. And I mean,
that's just math.
Now, I'm not Thanos, and so I would never wish that on anybody.
You're not a utilitarian.
I'm not Thanos from the Avengers. But I think that like as simply as an obvious matter as a question of physics, his dying would at least, I think, send a message to these COVID deniers who I don't know that it's a 1-to-1 proportion or ratio between a COVID denier and an election denier, but I would imagine it's pretty close, would send the message that, hey, like this thing is dangerous. Now, of course, they would say Rudy Giuliani is very, 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 very old and clearly unhealthy and probably had some pre-existing conditions or something like that. I don't know.
They'd find a way to rationalize it.
They did it with Herman Cain.
Would throw him under the bus immediately. Does anyone think he wouldn't blame him for dying of COVID?
They did it with Herman Cain, and then Herman Cain's social media account is still tweeting out, pro-Trump propaganda. Like, I guess, I know Herman Cain wasn't in the immediate Trump orbit. It's not like Rudy Giuliani, who's his little henchman, but I don't know. I don't know how far that would go because the the desire for COVID to be over is outweighing the rational reaction to COVID killing people.
I like people who didn't get COVID.
So